In this video, we're going to explore my top 25 dystopian movies of all time, from mind-bending sci-fi classics to dark futuristic nightmares that make you question humanity, and sometimes your internet connection. We'll talk about movies filled with corrupt governments, broken societies, giant corporations controlling everything, and heroes who look like they haven't slept in 3 weeks. Basically, the future according to Hollywood. Some of these films are legendary masterpieces, some are underrated hidden gems, and a few are so weird that you'll sit there thinking, "What did I just watch?" But in the best way possible. So grab your popcorn, turn off your AI assistant before it becomes self-aware, and let's dive into the top 25 dystopian movies that prove the future is probably not going to be very relaxing. Number 1, Blade Runner 2049 is one of the most visually stunning sci-fi movies ever made, a film that feels less like watching a movie and more like wandering through a futuristic dream while questioning your entire existence. Ryan Gosling plays K, a replicant Blade Runner whose quiet, lonely life slowly turns into a mystery filled with secrets, identity crises, and emotional damage. Honestly, nobody has ever looked more exhausted while wearing such a cool coat. Harrison Ford returns as Deckard, bringing nostalgia and grumpy energy in equal amounts. Number 2, Total Recall. Colin Farrell plays Douglas Quaid, an ordinary factory worker who visits Recall, a company that implants fake memories into people's minds. Naturally, everything goes horribly wrong within minutes because no sci-fi movie has ever allowed someone to enjoy a simple futuristic vacation package peacefully. Quaid suddenly finds himself chased by soldiers, uncovering hidden secrets, and questioning whether his entire life is fake. The futuristic cities feel alive, crowded, and beautifully cyberpunk, almost like someone mixed Blade Runner with a giant PlayStation cutscene in a good way. Number 3, Ready Player One is basically what happens when a gamer's dream, a nostalgia overload, and a sci-fi roller coaster crash into each other at full speed. Set in a chaotic future where people escape reality through a massive virtual world called the Oasis, the movie follows Wade Watts, a teenager hunting for hidden clues left behind by the game's creator. Whoever wins gets control of the entire digital universe. The film feels like someone blended classic arcade gaming, futuristic action, and internet culture into one giant energy drink. Every frame is packed with references to movies, games, cartoons, and pop culture icons. Number 4, Downsizing is one of the strangest sci-fi movies you'll ever watch, and honestly, that's part of its charm. The film asks a ridiculous but fascinating question: what if humans could shrink themselves down to 5 inches tall to save the planet and live like millionaires? Basically, it's the ultimate cost-cutting life hack. Tiny humans, tiny houses, tiny pizzas. Although sadly your problems stay full-sized. Overall, Downsizing is weird, creative, funny, and surprisingly thoughtful. It's not perfect, but it's definitely one of those movies that makes you say, "What did I just watch?" Number 5, In Time is one of those sci-fi movies that takes a crazy idea and runs wild with it. In this world, people stop aging at 25, but there's a catch: time is literally money. Want coffee? Pay with minutes. Want a fancy car? That'll cost you years. Miss a payment? Well, game over. Suddenly your late friend saying, "Bro, I have no time," sounds terrifyingly serious. It's smart, thrilling, stylish, and probably the only movie that can make you emotionally attached to a wristwatch. Number 6, Elysium is a gritty sci-fi action movie that asks an important question. What if rich people got so tired of Earth's problems that they literally moved to a giant luxury space station? Honestly, considering traffic and rising rent prices, some billionaires are probably already taking notes. Overall, Elysium is smart, action-packed sci-fi with great visuals, strong performances, and enough explosions to distract you from your existential crisis for 2 hours. Number 7, Equilibrium is one of those sci-fi movies that quietly arrived, got ignored for years, and then slowly gained cult status because people realized, "Wait, this is actually awesome." Imagine The Matrix mixed with 1984, but with extra slow-motion gunfights and enough leather coats to supply an entire fashion week. The movie stars Christian Bale as John Preston, an elite government enforcer living in a dystopian future where emotions are illegal. To keep society peaceful, everyone must take a drug called prosium, which suppresses all feelings. No sadness, no love, no joy. Basically, the government looked at internet comment sections and said, human emotions were a mistake. While the film borrows ideas from other dystopian classics, it still creates its own stylish identity with slick visuals, emotional themes, and non-stop action. Overall, Equilibrium is smart, entertaining sci-fi that proves suppressing emotions is bad. Especially when someone takes away your playlist. Number 8. The Hunger Games throws viewers into a future where society has somehow decided that reality TV should include actual arrows, explosions, and teenagers fighting for survival. Directed by Gary Ross and starring Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen, the movie mixes action, politics, and emotional drama surprisingly well. The Hunger Games is thrilling, emotional, and smart, with enough suspense to keep viewers hooked from start to finish. It's basically a mix of dystopian horror, teenage drama, and what if Instagram influencers ruled the world? Number 9. Alita: Battle Angel is a wild sci-fi ride that combines emotional storytelling, cyberpunk action, and enough robot punching to satisfy anyone who thinks regular fistfights are simply too human. Directed by Robert Rodriguez and backed by James Cameron, the movie transforms the classic manga into a visually impressive futuristic adventure. Alita: Battle Angel is thrilling, emotional, and visually spectacular. Basically cyberpunk anime energy turned into a Hollywood blockbuster with extra attitude. Number 10. Her is a surprisingly emotional sci-fi romance that asks one very important question. What if your phone understood you better than actual humans? Directed by Spike Jonze, the movie takes a simple futuristic idea and turns it into a heartfelt, funny, and slightly uncomfortable experience in the best way possible. The movie is emotional, thoughtful, and weirdly relatable. It's basically a breakup story for the digital age, proving that even in the future, people will still leave your messages on read. Number 11. Mad Max: Fury Road is 2 straight hours of explosions, engines screaming, and people making life decisions that absolutely violate every traffic law ever created. Directed by George Miller, this post-apocalyptic action masterpiece somehow turns a giant desert car chase into one of the greatest action movies ever made. Despite all the chaos, Mad Max: Fury Road actually has emotional depth and strong themes about survival, freedom, and redemption. The film is loud, intense, visually stunning, and completely unforgettable. It's basically what happens when a heavy metal music video drinks gasoline and decides to become art. Number 12. Minority Report is a smart, fast-paced sci-fi thriller that combines futuristic action with the terrifying idea that you could get arrested for something you might do. Directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Cruise, the movie feels like a detective story trapped inside a futuristic nightmare where even your eyeballs aren't safe. The movie is thrilling, intelligent, and visually creative, basically a mix of crime noir, cyberpunk chaos. Number 13. V for Vendetta is a stylish dystopian thriller that mixes political rebellion, emotional drama, and enough dramatic speeches to make every high school debate champion jealous. Directed by James McTeague and written by the Wachowskis, the movie turns masks, knives, and fireworks into cinematic art. Set in a totalitarian future version of England, the story follows V, a mysterious masked vigilante played by Hugo Weaving, who fights against the corrupt government through elaborate plans, explosive attacks, and speeches so poetic they sound like Shakespeare discovered revenge. V for Vendetta is smart, emotional, and endlessly entertaining, basically a revolution wrapped inside a comic book thriller with outstanding monologues and an unlimited cape budget. Number 14. Gattaca is a thoughtful sci-fi drama that proves the future can look beautiful, advanced, and still somehow more judgmental than a family WhatsApp group. Directed by Andrew Niccol, the movie explores a world where your entire future depends on genetics, meaning people basically get rejected from jobs before they even learn multiplication tables. What makes the film memorable is its emotional message about determination and human potential. It asks whether destiny is truly written in our genes or created through perseverance. Gattaca is intelligent, emotional, and beautifully made, basically a motivational story disguised as a futuristic identity crisis. Number 15, Ghost in the Shell is a visually gorgeous cyberpunk action film that feels like someone poured neon lights, philosophy, and expensive CGI directly into a blender and somehow made it look cool. Directed by Rupert Sanders and starring Scarlett Johansson, the movie adapts the legendary anime classic into a slick Hollywood sci-fi thriller. The story follows Major Mirakilian, a cyber-enhanced soldier who works for Section 9, an elite team fighting cybercrime in a futuristic world where hackers can literally mess with your brain like it's an old laptop full of viruses. Major is basically a human mind trapped inside a machine body, which leads her into an identity crisis while also performing impossible action stunts every 10 minutes. Ghost in the Shell is stylish, ambitious, and visually spectacular. Basically what happens when cyberpunk aesthetics get a massive Hollywood budget and unlimited access to glowing blue lights. Number 16, The Lobster is one of the strangest romantic comedies ever made, which is impressive considering most romantic comedies already involve people making terrible life choices. Directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, the film takes place in a bizarre dystopian society where single people are sent to a hotel and given 45 days to find a romantic partner. If they fail, they get transformed into an animal of their choice. Yes, dating is stressful enough already, but this movie somehow adds biological consequences. The Lobster is weird, funny, uncomfortable, and surprisingly emotional, basically a breakup movie designed by philosophers with unresolved trust issues. Number 17, Looper is the kind of sci-fi movie that grabs your brain, shakes it around, and then politely says, "Good luck figuring that out." Directed by Rian Johnson, the film mixes time travel, crime drama, and emotional storytelling into one stylish futuristic package. The story follows Joe, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, a hitman who works for the mob by eliminating targets sent back from the future. Easy job. Until one day the target turns out to be his older self, played by Bruce Willis. Imagine showing up to work and finding out HR has assigned you to destroy your future retirement plan. What really makes Looper stand out is its emotional core. Beneath all the guns and timelines is a surprisingly touching story about fate, sacrifice, and trying not to become a terrible person. It's smart, intense, funny in unexpected moments, and one of the rare time travel movies that doesn't completely melt your brain, only lightly toasts it. Number 18, The Truman Show is one of those movies that starts off charming and funny, then slowly makes you question reality, television, and whether your neighbor is secretly getting paid to wave at you every morning. Directed by Peter Weir and starring Jim Carrey in one of his best performances, the film tells the story of Truman Burbank, a man whose entire life is secretly broadcast as a reality TV show without him knowing it. Basically, Truman is living in the world's biggest spoiler-free live stream. The movie's concept is incredibly clever and somehow feels even more relevant today in the age of influencers, live streams, and people recording themselves eating noodles for millions of views. What makes The Truman Show unforgettable is its heart. Beneath the satire is a touching story about freedom, truth, and the courage to step outside your comfort zone. Even if your comfort zone has perfect weather and suspiciously enthusiastic neighbors. By the end, you'll laugh, think deeply, and maybe glance at the sky wondering if someone forgot to edit the clouds properly. Number 19, THX 1138 is a strange, cold, and deeply fascinating sci-fi movie. The story follows THX, played by Robert Duvall, an ordinary worker who begins questioning the emotionless system around him after stopping his mandatory drugs. Naturally, the government reacts the same way every corporation reacts when an employee starts thinking independently, complete panic. The film can be confusing at times, but that's part of its charm. THX 1138 is bold, experimental, and haunting. The kind of movie that leaves you thinking long after it ends, while also making you grateful your boss doesn't force daily emotion-suppressing pills, hopefully. Number 20, Ex Machina is the kind of sci-fi movie that quietly sneaks into your brain, rearranges your trust issues, and leaves you staring suspiciously at every smart device in your house. Directed by Alex Garland, The film blends artificial intelligence, psychological tension, and awkward human behavior into one beautifully unsettling experience. Oscar Isaac absolutely steals scenes as Nathan, a genius billionaire who acts like if Elon Musk and a nightclub DJ were fused together in a science lab. One minute he's discussing philosophy, the next he's dancing like he accidentally unlocked a secret side quest. Ex Machina is intelligent, creepy, stylish, and proof that maybe humans should stop giving robots internet access. 21 Oblivion is a sleek sci-fi adventure that feels like someone mixed a philosophy class with a giant IMAX wallpaper collection. Directed by Joseph Kosinski and starring Tom Cruise, the film takes place in a future where Earth has been wrecked after a massive war with aliens. Humanity has supposedly moved to space, while Jack Harper stays behind to repair drones and maintain giant machines that suck up Earth's remaining resources. Basically, he's the world's last IT support guy. Except his office includes flying helicopters and exploding robots. Oblivion is stylish, thoughtful, and proof that even after civilization collapses, printers and robots will still somehow need troubleshooting. Number 22 Dune is what happens when giant space politics, mystical prophecies, and sandworms the size of apartment buildings collide in one visually stunning sci-fi epic. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, the movie adapts the legendary novel by Frank Herbert, and somehow makes staring dramatically into the desert look incredibly cool. The soundtrack by Hans Zimmer sounds like a choir of ancient aliens screaming into the desert wind, which somehow works perfectly. Dune is immersive, intelligent, and spectacular sci-fi cinema, though you may leave the movie wanting a pet sandworm and a gallon of water. Number 23 Contagion is the rare thriller that manages to make hand sanitizer feel terrifying. Directed by Steven Soderbergh, the film follows a deadly virus spreading across the globe while scientists, governments, and ordinary people try desperately to keep society from turning into one giant panic attack. Spoiler: humanity does not stay calm. What makes Contagion so effective is how grounded it feels. There are no dramatic zombie mutations or superheroes creating miracle cures in 5 minutes. It's mostly scientists staring at microscopes while the rest of the world loses its mind on social media. Honestly, that realism is scarier than Aliens. Contagion is smart, intense, and disturbingly believable, the kind of movie that entertains you while also making you wash your hands for the next 3 hours. Number 24 Avatar is the kind of movie that makes you want to hug a tree, ride a dragon, and immediately complain that Earth is boring. Directed by James Cameron, this sci-fi epic drops viewers onto the glowing alien world of Pandora, where giant blue humanoids called Gnostics live in harmony with nature while humans arrive with the subtlety of a bulldozer at a flower shop. Overall, Avatar is epic, emotional, and visually unforgettable. It's a cinematic adventure that reminds us humanity's greatest talent is arriving somewhere beautiful and immediately trying to mine it. Number 25 Children of Men is a dystopian sci-fi masterpiece that asks an absolutely terrifying question: what if humanity just stopped having babies? Directed by Alfonso Cuarón, the film takes place in a grim future where society is collapsing because no child has been born in 18 years. Basically, the world has turned into one giant Monday morning. What makes Children of Men unforgettable is how real everything feels. The world isn't flashy or overloaded with futuristic gadgets. It's dirty, chaotic, and frighteningly believable. The cinematography is incredible, especially the famous long takes that make you feel trapped in the action alongside the characters. One battle scene is so intense you may forget to blink for 5 minutes straight.